everybody, welcome back. I'm taking you guys on another foraging adventure today, and today we are checking out another berry. So if you guys have ever heard of currants and gooseberries, currants might be a little more common, you might have heard of them, but if you did, you also might be familiar with one specific variety, because as I've come to learn, they come in quite an abundance of varieties, types, colors. So there's a lot of different types of these currants out there. And yeah, and then there's the gooseberry, which they're related. They're within the same genus. So they'll tend to look similar. But there will be a few differences that'll help you figure out, one, if it's a currant, and two, what type of currant it is. It's actually the tremendous variety of currants that totally threw me off for a while, and I was not completely confident with my identification. I did find the prickly currant a little closer to the coastal region in the Pacific Northwest. So today, totally different environment than that and a different currant altogether. So yeah, like I said, lots of variety. There's a black currant, and there are red. They also come in all kinds of other colors, like a golden tone, and there's green varieties, and yeah, so more black to purple. So some are more orangish. So yeah, it can make it a little weird for identifying, but there's other things you can use, and so I'll show you one today and see what you think. Today, I was happy to come across this currant berry. As you can see here, this one is obviously sporting red berries. I'll try to stay out of the sun. We got a pretty hot day here. One of the hottest that we've had, and it's actually getting later in the evening, and as you can see, I'm still really warm. So I waited to come out here and venture into getting some berries, but the time has come as the sun hopefully will set soon. But yeah, so this berry is growing in a region that, like, if you look behind me, you probably are thinking this is a pretty dry region. And if you know anything about currants, most of the descriptions of them usually put them in more of a kind of a wetter climate or wetter environment. And a lot of them do grow in regions like that around the Pacific Northwest. But there are a few that actually grow in drier regions, kind of drier, and that's where I am today. As you can see, we're actually in a region in Montana. So at first, I was sort of surprised to see them here because I thought it was maybe too dry for them, but I started thinking about all the different currants that were apparently all the varieties that were supposed to be out there, and I thought, no, this actually might fit because there is a type. There's actually two that I'm aware of, a golden currant, a little sweeter, and a wax currant, and that's what we have here. So some of the characteristics that are helpful is, one, that this should be a woody shrub. See, and that's what I have here. They range in size about several feet high, give or take. And I immediately saw the berries and it caught my attention. And they have this characteristic, as you can see, characteristic look to them, where you'll see this, it's usually described as like a translucent look. So you can see kind of a translucent reddish, maybe orangish red tone. Also, where I plucked it off, you can see that little, like on the head of the berry there, sort of the remnants of a flower look to it. Okay, so yeah, that was my first clue. And then I tried it. Well, actually I made sure I had a positive ID, and then I tried it, and you'll find that it's kind of a, it has a pretty waxy coating, pretty durable outer layering on the berry. And then when you bite into it, it's kind of seedy, as you can hopefully see. The lighting's not great because of the sun behind me, but you can see the seeds. And it's kind of crunchy because of those seeds. So the waxy, crunchy. Now, these are often described as being sort of tart, maybe even on the acidic level. The tartness actually comes from that chemistry that it shares with other tart foods. And it can be slightly acidic, and apparently it can upset your stomach, I think, if you eat tons of them, but I've never eaten that many, so I have no experience with that issue. Another way to ID this, which helped me, aside from the fact that it fit being a shrub, the berries fit, are the leaves. So the leaves on currants look kind of like this, if you can see that leaf. So they come in a variety, but they're typically 3 to 5 lobes. This one, the lobes are not quite as distinct as some of the others, but it has that characteristic look. So the leaves are very helpful in identifying a currant. So one more thing that was interesting is I remembered reading that the currant should have a, the wax currant should have a kind of like a vanilla scent. So I broke up the leaf here, just broke it up into pieces and smelled it, and sure enough, it has a vanilla scent, which also helped me. So yeah, it looks like I have a wax currant here, and the berries are not super tart like a lot of the currants. It's kind of on the more like sweeter or bland end of the tartness that other currants would have, but there's lots of them on here. It's perfect ripeness time. This is July in Montana, and these babies are pretty full of berries. And we've had a lot of birds in here, I think, trying to get a meal as well. So I'm definitely going to share with the birds and not eat too many of these, but these apparently are pretty good. Most of the things that I eat are going to be more in their raw form. I'm just picking from the ground and eating. Living off the land more closely with it. So yeah, so that's your currant. So this is another great one to add to your foraging list. I like things that are low-hanging fruit, literally, that they're fairly easy to identify, right? Because the stuff I talked about is really helpful, and it helps it stand apart from other types of berries. There's plenty of bushes around here in this region. So these wax currants are going to grow in this type of environment that's a little more of this like rocky slope, mountain, more full sun type of environment. But the other currants will have a lot more variety. They won't be likely in this type of region. So you'll want to read up on all the different types of currants depending on where you live and where you're foraging. But definitely add this berry to your list. It's a really good one. Happy foraging. There's another one to add to your list, and I will have a lot more. This is the best time of year. Well, pretty good time of year to be foraging out here. Midsummer, spring's good too. I think you can also forage some of the shoots on these plants as well, but I don't really see anything too good right offhand. So lots to do with currants and a lot of other berries. So not going to be as sweet and delicious as, say, a huckleberry, but still a good one to add to your list. So that would be all for today, guys. I'm going to get out of the sun because, like I said, it's super hot today here in Montana. And I'm just going to go relax and maybe pop a few currants, some water, and just, it would probably taste pretty good in like in a little drink like that with water. So, if you want some more videos about foraging, I have a whole list of foraging ideas, things that I have experience with in the field, and I talk about identifying them and eating them and cooking on fires or camp stoves and that type of thing. So if you enjoyed this and learned a lot, just like the video, and if you want to just see the videos when they come out, all you have to do is subscribe. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you guys next time on another adventure. Bye.